Good evening, everybody. Let me go over to the YouTube page so I can see the chat. Well, I can see it I can actually see it in the StreamYard, actually, as a matter of fact, but it's easier for me to see it over here. And give me 1 second. We're going to talk about resets that have happened in the past. We're going to hypothesize. And we're also going to talk about the guardian angels or spirit guides or the governor or teacher that is with each and every one of us, and get into a few of these things so we can get a better understanding, on where we get the information. I always want to stare at that microphone instead of the camera. I'm so sorry, you guys. So we'll get a better understanding of where we get the information from. Instead of looking outside of ourselves, everything that we need is close by. It's within reach. So that's why, if you were raised Christians, is to go to your prayer closet and pray in private, because then the Father will reward you openly because you're praying in private. So who's there? Who's there to answer your prayers, right? Something to think about. But let's start with some resets. And then I want you guys to try to wrap your mind around some things, some testimonies that I've heard. And let me know if my sound's coming through okay with the mic and everything. I want to make sure you guys are hearing everything. Okay. Let's start with, let's go way back. Let's go back to Atlantis and Lemuria. Let's think back now. Of course, none of us has a conscious, physical, observational memory of being in that time period. But we know that time period existed. There's evidences of it. And there's some residual in our subconscious. So with the residual in our subconscious, we know that it did exist. And it's been said that the Lemurians worked with their spiritual abilities. They knew that how energy and to manipulate and move these boulders, and build these megalithic structures that we can't build today because we don't have the physical equipment to do it. But they knew how to bend energy. So we have some residual evidence that this existed. These civilizations existed. Atlantis also worked with their spiritual abilities, but they also used technology. And there's nothing wrong with technology. Don't get me wrong. I think technology is wonderful. Anything that can enhance the human experience and broaden our perception and allow us to expand, I think it is amazing. Anything that can make our life easier and more manageable for everybody is awesome. And I'm not talking about putting a chip in your body, you guys. I'm talking about the invention of a microwave oven, or the luxuries that we have in life. Internet, for example, where we can talk to people across the country, across the world, at home. I mean, some of these technological advancements that we have are awesome. So in Atlantis, they used technology and they got into the science of things. And in Lemuria, they stuck with the basic rudimentary of the spiritual, and those were kind of just the little bit of cultural differences. If you do any kind of studies into the, I guess it would be mythology of Atlantis and Lemuria, those seem to be the differences in them. Well, something happened in that period. We call it a reset. When there is like a time of moving on, or time, some are ready to evolve to another way of existence, then we could call it possibly a reset. Another reset that is well known is the one that is in the Bible, the flood. Okay. And some of the things that go along with when there's a reset, a worldwide reset, is knowledge is increased. The people who are being prepared to move forward or move on. And again, I want to emphasize this is not better than anybody else, less than anybody else. Everything is choice. We all make our choices. We all come in and we have our experiences here to expand our consciousness and our soul growth. Each and every life is precious. Whatever our choices are, as long as we are living by the, those golden rules, do unto others what we would want done unto self, or do what thou wilt, as long as what you're doing does not encroach or impede or harm another living being. If you do these things, then you pretty much fulfill the law, right? Any law, even spiritual law. So okay, so let's get back to resets. So the flood. Noah was running around trying to warn the people, and at that time, this place never rained. It had a terrarium effect to it. Everything was taken care of naturally. It would be like a dew. So they didn't have rain. So he's trying to tell them of rain. It's going to flood. It's going to rain. It's going to do all this. And they're like, Noah, put down the wine. You had too much. You don't know what you're talking about. And so he goes and he built the ark. And then, of course, we know what that story. Okay, so we could think of that as a reset. Also, consciousness or knowledge expanded. Noah was given some insight. He knew something that nobody else knew because he chose to know it. So by choosing, then he knew, and then he moved on. Another reset, more recently, would be we could look at the Mayan people. Let's think about the Mayan long count calendar that ended on 12/21/2012. And you guys let me know if I'm right on that date. I believe that's pretty close. 12/21 2012, because I think it was forwards and then backwards. Okay, before the Mayan countdown, long count calendar counted itself down, where's the Mayan people, right? They left this gnosis, this long count calendar for us for a reason. There's a purpose behind it. Does anybody remember in 2012 seeing a bunch of people making videos asking if they died? They truly thought, am I dead? Where am I? Something's different, something's changed. The Mayans had the increased consciousness, the wisdom. They left behind breadcrumbs for us to be able to follow, to know possibly when another big reset was about to transpire. Many people since 2012 and even prior, let's go back. I'm sorry, I meant to do these in order. Let's backpedal a little bit. Let's go to the reset in 2001. I'm not going to bring up the date because you guys, your consciousness has already absorbed it. You know what date I'm talking about. And something happened at that time. And at that time, it was shortly before that incident where I started having these strange phenomena come into my life on a regular basis. And I know I'm not the only one. none of us are alone in this. And so I know back then I didn't want to tell anybody. I mean, it was a handful of people, and I really didn't even tell them to the full extent of what I was actually seeing. And we were watching these things that I was seeing and then come to pass. And yeah, I mean, I wanted it to honestly go away. But something happened back in 2000. We had something like it was almost like, okay, we have you know 3 4s, which 4 4 4 12, yeah, 4 8 12, huh? And then would bring us to the or close to the countdown of the long count Mayan calendar on 2012. So some were being prepared. Some have been being prepared since birth. They came in to this existence at this time just to go through what we're going through. They came in to have this phenomenal experience of going through a reset. Resets don't happen very often. Now we have timeline adjustments, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But actual worldwide resets. And when I'm talking about a reset, I'm not talking, again, remember, there's no higher than or less than. It's choice. It's always choice. We all are free will, sovereign, unique beings, and we have the right to choose. And we find the answers that we're looking for when we stop looking out there and start looking in here. And we start doing the work in here. And we'll get into the guides, spirit guides, guardian angels, and all that in just a moment. But okay, so in 2000, I can tell you I felt that there was a major shift of some sort. It may have been like a precursor. Maybe, food for thought, you guys, there's precursors to every worldwide reset. So we can prepare. So we can have the time to prepare. So our consciousness or our spirit is stirred into a state where we're now aware it's time. It's time to get our house in order. We're about to go through something amazing. We're about to be front row and experience something that is so phenomenal and so off the charts that, to tell somebody back then what everything that I was seeing, I'm telling you, they would have probably locked me up. That's how I felt about it anyways. If somebody walked up to me and told me the stuff that I was seeing and would tell me that they were seeing it, I'd be like, I mean, that's how out there it was even for myself to, wrap my left side. I'm a left brain thinker, mathematics, doing, being an accountant. I worked for a law firm. I was an office manager. I managed several restaurants. I couldn't get away with, I tried one, I'm going to bird walk. I tried one time to go and get a job as a hostess because I wanted a break. I didn't want all the responsibility. And it was a brand new restaurant in our town. It was called Perkins. I don't know if you guys know Perkins Family Restaurant. It's like a pancake house. They have everything there, but they got a bakery and everything. It's a really nice place to eat. It was a brand new store. And so I got hired on as a hostess. Well, they have a team come in. They're called NSO team, and they wear these red shirts. So they train everybody on how to plate presentation, food, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And we were packed. I don't know. I think everybody in that small town, it's new. They got to try it as soon as it opens. It was slammed. So how I even caught their attention, I have no idea. So I'm a hostess. I'm there greeting them and I'm seating people. Okay, that's all I'm doing. That's my whole job. They grabbed me, pulled me around to the back, offered me $3 additional an hour. And we're talking, shoot, 23 years ago. So somebody offers you $3 more an hour. That's a lot of money. I mean, that's a lot. And I was like, why, why not any of these other people? And then they started saying, well, we seen, your application that you worked here, and we called, found out you were a manager there, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I was busted. So anyways, that was my one time of trying to take a break from restaurant management. It's a very stressful job to have. Anybody that works in public service or food industry or dealing, especially hungry people, oh my goodness, bless them. Tip your waiters and waitresses, your servers, because they only make out there. They made $2.35 an hour, and they had to make up the minimum wage by their tips. And if they didn't, they got canned, because if Perkins had to make it up, they were like, well, then you're not a good. Oh, my dogs! I just set my dogs off. Oh, they didn't like that bad service stuff. Anyway, so. While I was doing that, I was also attending college. Hang on a second, you guys. I'm so sorry. Hey, you guys. Come on. Hey. Shh, shh. Quiet. Quiet. They don't want to hear you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys get enough of them on talking animals, don't you? So anyways, I was going to college at the same time because I had to leave college because I got pregnant with my daughter and got married really young. Let me fix this again here, just in case I have somebody jump in here with me. Okay, so I was going and I was finishing up my degree. And then when I finished my degree, then I went in and I got a job at a law firm. And from the law firm, I worked on a very high profile case. I'm not going to tell you what case it is because you guys would recognize it. It's something that happened in Oklahoma in 1995. That's all I'm going to tell you. And then from there, since that was a one case, this attorney had to have the extra help because this case was ginormous. From there, I became an office manager. And from there, I actually put my degree to work and worked for a tribal government on nonprofit grants. So I've got the logical side of my mind. That's the side of my mind that I've always relied on. The creative side and the we say male, female, and things of that nature. We're all male, we're all female, we're all right, we're all left. We have everything within us. It's when we're out of balance that we kind of, fall to one side or the other. We don't want to be spooky spiritual, but we don't want to be hyper analytical either, to the point that we will debate what we are seeing with our own eyes, what we are witnessing, and what we are going through, because our logical mind dismisses it. So, and I'm telling you that because that was the inner battle that I went through, being of the logical left brain. It has to add up. Where's the science? How does this even happen? It was too fantastical for me to wrap my mind around. And I was in constant denial. And I was always concerned that if the wrong person heard, off to the nutty farm I went. But I did go see a doctor finally, because the dreams were so lucid, so vivid. And when I was actually leaving my body, I thought they were one and the same. And they have a different feel to them. And over time, we figured that out. But those were scary. It was dark. I seen shadow creatures. I thought everything was trying to get me. And so said I was having night terrors and gave me a pill and said I had insomnia and whatever. That pill didn't do nothing except for make it harder for me to wake up from the dreams that I thought were like night terrors. It just, so, when you try to wake yourself up from it, I just couldn't. So back in 2000, something happened. At least something happened to me. And I know I'm not alone in this, to prepare the way that we are walking through. Do we negotiate these things before we come in? I don't know. Do we? Have you had a session, or have you thought about doing a beyond quantum healing session just to find out, to see if you can regress back far enough to find out if you picked your parents? It's pretty interesting stuff, when you really look into it. But again, like I said, everything has to be in a balance, be equal. Use your right side and your left side in harmony with each other. So back to what I was talking about in 2000, this all started happening. 2001, it was like we had a huge affirmation. The two became one. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, let me say hi to you guys. Hey, Pre. Oh, my goodness. I just loved your testimonial share about what happened in 2016. That answers a lot with what we talked about last time we were live. Because remember, that was the question that I asked. I said to all of you guys that were up here on the panel, have you had any of you had a near-death experience? Because it does seem to be a common denominator among many people going through a lot of strange phenomena, that, a lot of them have had this. All of them? No. But a lot of them have pretty much. I don't think I've met anybody that's had a death experience. I don't know why we call it a near-death experience, because there was nothing near about it. We died. And I, was given the choice. I was actually told I didn't have to come back. I made the choice to come back, which that's where my message came from to you, of my message of gratitude that you chose to come back, because, especially when you experience a place as that. And when we come back here, we can suffer from depression and have some pretty low lows, because the ecstatic bliss that we experienced, and there's time is different there than it is here. So when you experience such an ecstatic bliss of unconditional love, everything vibrating and moving about, everything alive, energized, and you're one with it all, and everything. I can't even do it justice by trying to put words to what it is and to what I experienced. But I know I chose to come back, and I know as soon as I hit my body, everything from the tips of my split ends to my toenails hurt like a son of a gun. There was no pain there. I didn't even know. When the car hit me, I didn't even feel that. I was taken up into my Merkaba so quick, and I was watching over, and then I just kind of rolled over, and I was in this place, and it's nothing like it. Oh my gosh. It's pretty exciting. It's wow. Okay. Anyways, people that have had said such experiences as these, like I said, I don't think I've met anybody that's had an experience like that isn't going through this, or maybe made the choice to come back because of what we're going through. Something as profound as a reset. And what happens is, let's go back to, we're going to go back now to when the Mayan people were here. And they're putting together this calendar. They have gnosis. They have secret gnosis that's been being given to them in ways that is what we are dealing with at this time. Each of us are receiving pieces of the puzzle. We share with each other what we have, so we can even, expand more. But mainly it's for affirmations. We get affirmations from each other. And it also, I'm going to tell you what, you guys, the Mandela effect brought such comfort and warmth to my heart because, it was a lonely walk and I was afraid to even talk about it to anybody outside of that handful of people because, thinking, oh, what's that? Okay, she's lost her mind. She's just gone cuckoo. And I would have bought that for $1. I would have said, you know what? I think you're right. Except for, by the way, next week, this is going to happen to you. And don't come griping at me if you walk headlong into it after being forewarned. When you see this, and this happen, you can make a different choice and have a different outcome. But this is the outcome that will happen if you continue on. And then they come back and they're like, oh, how did you know that? You weren't even there. I'm like, I don't know. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know your personal business. I mean, that's just kind of how it was. And the things that we learn, the things that are shared with us, a lot of times have nothing to do with us, but it has to do with the expansion of our consciousness and showing the equality of each other by seeing what's going to transpire in another's life, especially prior reset. Okay. We are becoming closer brothers and sisters. We're showing more compassion towards one another. We're learning how to love each other unconditionally. We're learning to walk in another's shoes, feel what it feels like to be them, know what it is to go through their daily grind. Sometimes people's lives look like sunshine and roses, but they're actually maybe they have cancer or they're suffering or they're depressed or a number of things. They could be having problems with their children or having problems with their parents or brothers, sisters, or whatever the dynamics. We don't know the whole book of that individual's observations and experiences. But as we see things through our eyes that are going on with other beings, other people, then we get to see the perspective and observe and sometimes even feel when we get into the empathic, feel what they're feeling. And it brings about a newfound brotherly, sisterly love and compassion towards each other. So there's nothing that is done that doesn't seem like my logical mind is satisfied with it, because it seems like whatever's going on in the right side, there seems to be a counterbalance on the left side that makes sense. There's a reason why we're stumbling around in the dark trying to figure out what is going on. Because as it becomes more clear to us, it's that much more bright. So there's no mistaking it. So left and right balanced again. Okay, back to the Mayan. The Mayan people, when they are making this long count calendar, obviously they were being gifted and given puzzle pieces beyond the conscious awareness of maybe even their neighbors. Obviously, humanity kept going because the Mayan people disappeared, and what was left behind was the evidence that they wanted to try, they wanted to gift us something that could help us in the future. And they did. They left us this long count calendar. And I know that there's people now saying, oh, the long count calendar is now different. Okay. That's okay. It's okay. That's part of that Mandela effect thing. So, and that Mandela effect thing should show us right there that, is there a possibility and probability that the reset's already happened and we've been moved? And the other place is going through something completely different than what we are. We think it's hard because we're trying to wrap our mind around it, but we don't know exactly what they're going through. It must be boring. I went down to 8. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about time changing. Okay. Now this is the phenomenon. I got one example through testimony that I heard, and actually being that I was born and I was around during this time, which is going to date me. So now you guys are going to know that I'm ancient. But okay. And what if you were to find out that JFK actually ran his second term and won, and the assassination was in 1968, which would explain the vehicle that we now see that is portrayed as the vehicle that he was assassinated in Dealey Plaza in Texas. Probably didn't even happen in Dealey Plaza. But the vehicle that they're showing us today wasn't even made or manufactured in the year 63. Now, when they changed, because of whatever happened between 63 and 68, society collapsed. Whatever was disclosed caused a collapse of society. So, a reset. So what happened there? Okay. They changed it to 63. But there was a problem. In 1968, there was a huge vacuum of energy from the emotional. Everybody knows how everybody responded when that happened. It was a very emotional time for many people. They just absolutely adored him. So what happened was Martin Luther King and, there's that other gentleman. They were both activists. The one was a little more aggressive until he became Muslim. And when he became Muslim, then he became very peaceful. But they were both assassinated in 1968 to offset that energy vacuum, to keep things in balance so that society would be stable. Do some research on this. These are hypotheses that I'm talking about. These are not things that I can tell you that I witnessed personally. These are things that I can feel within that they make sense, that it transpired. And society wasn't ready for a reset at that time. So it was a time swap. We just kind of shifted. We don't do worldwide resets that often. You think about it. When we talked about Atlantis and Lemuria, we talked about Noah. Then we talked about, and we jumped all the way to the Mayan. Now, there's been others in between, but I'm just saying, just think about the time in between. I think often on something that Preliminal said about 3,000 years. He mentioned 3,000 years off the cuff, but I really don't think it was off the cuff. Nothing is ever off the cuff. Came from someplace. So is it every 3,000 years? I don't know. That's a very good possibility and probability that his conscious awareness subconsciously brought that number forward. And everything seems to be in threes. You know how they say, oh, you lost one person. Okay, you're going to lose two more. It's going to be three. Oh, you just, won a little bit of money. Oh, okay, well, it's going to happen two more times because everything happens in threes. And just like us, we're body, soul, and spirit, and Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Everything's in threes. For him to say 3,000, it kind of really resonated and sparked off a whole meditative journey into researching resets, because something happens during these resets. And during these resets, like I said, it's not a good or bad thing for anybody. We're gauged, we're measured. Whatever we are vibrating and whatever we're able to handle is where we will settle into. It's not a bad thing, and it is always choice. So if somebody decides they like the three-dimensional realm of experience, okay, that's their choice, and they have every right to that choice, to make that choice, and to stay and be and do everything that will transpire in the 3D realm. Well, with what we know from historical resets, I don't know if I'd want to stay in the third dimension since we're moving into the fifth, because it's time. We move along on a path, a pattern, of how things progress. They call it the age of enlightenment. We move along. There's some that go a little earlier, and then there's some that will come along a little bit later. But I don't know if I would want to stay in a third dimensional realm that is just tearing each other apart all the time. There's no kindness, because from what I understand of resets and the phenomena of the people that are picked up or removed or moved on, they are very heart-centered. They're unique. They're in touch with themselves. They're in touch with the divine. They have a inner knowing. They're gifted with gnosis and gifts and abilities. And when it's time for them to move, they move on. Everybody has the same gifts. Everybody has the same access to the gnosis. Everybody has everything equal. It's just a matter of choice on when we choose to get off the hamster wheel, and seek it out and find it. Oh, wow. Love those 44s. And I remember, oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And that's, you become resilient to when you hear changes, just like with the Mandela effect. It's become a normal part of flowing now in a lot of people's daily lives, that if something changes, you just take note of it now, and you don't make such a big, and it doesn't affect you. Like the first one that I had, when it was a physical in my hand, I mean, it felt like every cell in my body was like vibrating and buzzing and jumping up and down. It freaked me out. But now, as time has passed, as we see these things go on, it's kind of like, oh, okay. It's become a normal part of our day-to-day life. Oh my gosh, we still want to share them. Absolutely. And some affect some, and well, others don't. And some we have in common and others we won't, which, talks about the reams of paper that I brought up on the last stream, that how they're stacked on top of each other. Double O, or Richie, he brought up something, unique about, there 7 billion people. So they say 7 billion people. Well, 7 billion people, each living a unique life themselves, will have their own ream of paper, and they will move about in their own ream of paper. And then we go on the quantum level, where we all put in just a little fractal of ourselves into what we see and experience from a quantum level. But on our personal level, which is our dominant consciousness, that's what we'll interact with on a day-to-day. So that made a lot of sense when he said that. I mean, we had a really good conversation the other night. There was a lot of good bread, a lot of good meat, a lot of good. It was a buffet. Everybody was doing a wonderful job with sharing and allowing each of us to expand from what each of us were sharing with one another. Okay, I will go ahead and put the link in if somebody wants to pop in, but I'm not going to stay. It's not a power stream, you guys, but and that'll give you guys some time while I want to talk about the guardian angels and the governor and the teacher, and or some people call it. Let me see, where is it at? Invite. Okay. Some people call it spirit guides, higher self, different names, but it's the same thing. It's always the same. We're talking about the same things, just different labels on it. So, okay, when each of us are born, we're a soul. Okay, and we come in through our Merkaba, and we're planted into our mother's womb, into a physical vessel. Then we enter out through, I think the Bible says, out of our, instead of our womb, we come out of the matrix now into this realm of physicality. We do not come in alone. You can say that it's an aspect of you, that each one is an aspect of you, whether it be the governor or the teacher. It could be your higher self, or it could be very well because you're multifaceted, you're multidimensional, you're you're amazing. I mean, we start to really dig deep and think about how even our body functions, and how things come about for us, and how things can kind of just magically, not kind of, just magically happen, or how we would know things way before they happen, um, or even information that we've never studied, all of a sudden we're fluent in it. Things of that nature happen to people all the time because we are we're multifaceted, we're connected, we're able to glean. It's always choice. So we have a governor, we have a teacher. The governor would be like, think about, if you're Christian, okay, think about when Moses had them out in the wilderness, and there was the pillar of smoke and fire by night and a pillar of smoke by day, and said that the Lord said that he's got my name on his tongue and he will have no mercy. Okay. So think of that as like the governor. The governor would be the one that holds us to the spiritual law, the one that will be what would be your subconscious, what would make you feel guilty or ashamed, or if you've done something to somebody and hurt somebody. So that way, you learn from it and grow from it, and then you get the fundamental understanding. The teacher, on the other hand, is more one-on-one direct. Now, both are in constant communication with us all the time, but the teacher is the one's unlocking the gifts within and helping us to understand them in a way that would make sense to each of us as a unique being, so we can gradually move along with utilizing each tool in our toolbox. So we have these two beings that assist us, but like I said, it could be just another portion of ourself. It could be your higher self, or spirit guides, or essence or fractal of ourselves that come in to watch over ourselves. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to put it. Or you call them guardian angels, and everybody's heard of guardian angels, so that's a pretty benign term. So they come in and they assist us. One teaches us the law, so we don't fall under the law of karma, and we learn. And the other teaches us about the gifts and connection to the divine within. And as time progresses and we progress, and as we evolve and we're shown that we're able to handle what is given to us, they start to back off. They start to move away. They don't leave us. We're never left alone. So I want you to understand that we're never, if we fall down, they're right there to help pick us up. Okay. So we're never left alone, but we are left in a way of no longer having to go through the governor and the teacher to wield the very gifts and ability that we all have within us. They back off. It's called the restrainer. And also you can think of it as the two witnesses that fire breathes out of their mouth. They only speak truth. Okay. The governor and the teacher will only speak truth to you. And if you're going into your prayer closet or praying and meditating and spending that time, the information may sound confusing at first until you can hear clearly, but you will hear clearly, and it will, it's a process that we all go through and we're all going through. And it just takes a little bit of time. So we learn and they back off. And then the two witnesses They say, what does the Bible say? That after 3.5 years of testifying, that they're killed or something, and everybody exchanges gifts. Well, okay, think of it as they're never killed. You can't kill something that's infinite, and that means you too. Um, so they back away, and you have your gifts, all of the gifts that you have, and you do use your gifts to help others. That it's in our nature with the new heart, the loving heart that we have. We'll want to do um, for others. We'll want to help others. We won't want to see anybody suffer. It's a life changing experience. And then after where they lay on the ground, I think 3 days. Everything's in threes. Remember, you guys, threes, three, three. And then they're raised up to heaven. So I think of that as a reset. Think about it in the concept of a worldwide reset. We know they've happened before. People have been talking about historical mud floods, and evidence of mud floods has been coming to the surface, and people are finding the evidence of it. So that has to be somewhere in the consciousness being revealed for people to find this phenomenon. Was that possibly another reset? What do you guys think? I mean, you be the judge. You are your judge. That's why you are your governor. That's why you have your teacher. You are your teacher. Everything that you need is within. Now you can come across some people that can really enhance your experience and help you to not fall in a bunch of holes. And I would grab it. Grab everything that you can that's beneficial to you. But if it promotes fear or anything that would make you doubt yourself, just kind of set that kind of stuff aside. Take in the stuff that's beneficial, that's going to raise you up and bring you to the full awareness, the full consciousness of the divinity that resides within each of us. As we wouldn't even be animated if we did not have the divinity in us. And when the divinity leaves us, the animation of this avatar ceases. Food for thought on that one. So so we talked about the Atlantis, we talked about the flood, we talked about the Mayans, and then mud flood. Those are four big ones that should help anybody that wants to look into what a reset is like. And anybody that's probably listening here, you guys are you're preparing yourself. We're going through a preparation period. Stop beating yourself up. Show yourself self-love, because and especially if you've had a death experience and had that bliss and felt that pure, it's so pure. It's, oh my gosh, there's nothing like it. That unconditional pure love that is for each of us. That's why when a lot of people, when they come back, they can go through the blues. It's depressing because it's heavy here. It's a lot heavier here than it is there. And it's just so pure. Everything is so pure and perfect. But we choose to come back. And there's a reason. Every one of us that's had an experience like that and chose to come back, there's a reason we came back. And there's a purpose. We're here to serve some kind of purpose, or to have the experience of this conscious expansion, and have the soul growth expansion that we're all gaining from such an experience. Hi, Quartz Quantum, Preliminal, Michael Fontaine. Did I miss anybody? I'm looking in StreamYard right now. Incredible Wednesday. Is Propagate here? Is he in the room? Where's he at? He sent me an email. So you guys have any questions? Because I'm going to try and keep this one at an hour. Oh, I want to share something with you guys. Something fun. I also want to tell you, the talking dancing animals that I've been putting over here, they're going to go on my backup channel. I've been slowly moving them over there, and then when they get caught up, every once in a while I'll put one over here on Awake and Activate. But that's going to be their new home. So if you like those, it's on my homepage. It's called Talking Dancing Animals, and it's got the profile of Puddles, so you won't mistake it. So because I like to do some fun stuff, lighten the load a little bit, not be so serious all the time, because it could be pretty darn intense, and we don't always want to be intense. We need to learn how to give ourselves a break, and by giving ourselves a break and doing something fun or funny, it keeps our balance. It just helps keep our balance. Let me share this with you guys. And where are you at? Okay, this is the new one. Okay, here you go.
Hi, I'm Petals the Pomeranian, and today let's do some dancing. I love to have my friends come over and enjoy some time with me. Sometimes I get nervous and I'll start to spin, but hopefully they're so preoccupied they don't know what's going on in the background. Oh no, it looks like I did it again with my friend over. But I know how to do this out of here. Watch this. Oh, I love to spin. Doesn't even look like my friend even if anything happened. So let's get back to dancing. I got friends everywhere. I go visit them, and they come visit me. We dance there. Oh, we come over to my place and dance here. It's so much fun to dance. I'm having so much fun with my friends. I think I'm gonna throw a party and have them all come over. What do you guys think? Woogie, woogie, woogie. As you can see, I have friends from everywhere. Rabbits, cats, dogs, you name it. They're all my friends, and we all love to dance. So let's throw that party, shall we? Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe to Cooking with Mack. Oh, my first guest has arrived. Let's dance. More! Yay! Oh my goodness, we're getting a full house. I hope I don't get in trouble. Look at all of us having a wonderful time. I hope everybody's having a wonderful time too. Remember, learn, laugh, and dance.
What is going on here? Puddles, Baxter, where did all of these animals come from?
Uh-oh. Looks like our party has come to its conclusion. Don't worry, Mommy. We'll clean up our mess. We were just dancing and having a good time.
Okay. Yeah, I enjoy making this for you guys. It's always good just to kick back, relax, and laugh. And the animals are getting more used to working with the green screen and acting and doing their parts. And I think they know when I'm ready for them, and they come running. I mean, like they'll like now bulldoze each other over because one wants to go before the other because they know it comes with treats. So they're like, get out of my way. I want to go first. Let me in there. So, and I got a new camera, so I'm able to get full body shots of them instead of, I just couldn't stand it when she would jump in, it would cut her head off. So I have to be far enough away so that way I can get the whole body of her dancing. When she's looking up like that and she's dancing, she's looking at that treat. Give it to me, mommy. Give me that treat. Now, the Cooking with Mack channel that I've been talking about in my last few posts, those are actually my parents. So you'll either get Mack 1 or Mack 2. My dad will show you how if we ever had to go off grid or without power or had to grill cook, he can show you recipes that are phenomenal, full meals that you cook on the grill that, are well beyond steaks, hamburgers, and hot dogs. So, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, he's just getting his channel started, and the recipes are amazing. The spring rolls, excuse me, spring rolls were made in the kitchen, but yeah, I made those. So with the air fryer, I have an air fryer. So I do recommend those too instead of a deep fryer. Check out air fryers if you haven't, purchased one yet. They are absolutely wonderful. Your food tastes like it was deep fried without all that grease and without your house smelling like a deep fryer. Awesome. So it should be in the description box, and his channel's also on my homepage if you can't get there through the description box. And all support to him. I'm really grateful that that's it's humbling and it's really sweet, and he's really enjoying that you guys are being so supportive. So does anybody have any questions about the governor and the teacher or our spirit guides? The threes, the resets, what happened in 2000, and like the early warning precursor, the Mayan culture, the different resets that have happened over history. And it's a way of having something happen in a worldwide event without causing worldwide panic. So let's say, a reset happens, an event happens. Instead of a bunch of people flying off the planet and everyone's going, oh my gosh, what's that? Or I missed out, or I did something wrong. It happens in a way that is so different than we would ever think. It's done with such grace and mercy and unconditional love for each. A lot of times what happens is an avatar is left in a realm that we have left and we've moved someplace to another. So it's kind of like, I guess what people would call an NPC maybe, this avatar. You can have a conversation with somebody and they could be completely in line with you, completely understanding and comprehending and completely on par with you. And then a couple of days later, you talk to that very same person. Number one, they don't remember the conversation. And number two, they're debating you now on everything. And, they're like, what? No, I didn't say, well, what could have possibly happened? Either you moved and your dominant consciousness is now occupying a different realm and dealing with another aspect of them, or they moved. And so you kind of see how that can work in a way that is merciful. At the same time, when people actually pass away or move on, it's a graduation type ceremony. Sometimes people come to have an experience, they have the experience, and then they're going to circle back in. They're going to come back in because they want to have something completely different than what they had. They had what they came to get, to grow from, and then they want to come back. Other times it is a ceremony, a graduational ceremony of moving out of the avatar state, of moving through the levels with avatars and going into another level of conscious awareness that is still interactive and it still is expanding. When we can wrap our mind around infinite, we'll also drop the label of limited, because there's no limit on, infinite. So I hope, I hope that this kind of makes sense on removing fear and doubt out of any kind of a reset or any kind of concern that you're not right where you're divinely appointed to be at this very moment. Do not beat yourself up, especially not over what is coming out of somebody else's mouth. You have a conscience, you have a governor, you have a teacher. That's their job. Let your guardian angels assist you. Ask and you'll receive. Don't worry about what the cat down the road is saying, or Joe down the street. Remember, the answers reside within, and it's always free will choice. And when we think and we react and we are interacting, if we're consciously thinking about how does my action affect those around me, well, we're already taking steps in the right direction, because we don't want to hurt our brothers and sisters. We're all family. Doesn't matter what country you're from, or what your cultural differences are. None of that. None. All of those levels of separation start to melt away. We're unique, yes. We're individual, yes. But we're all brothers and sisters, and we're in this together. So whatever somebody's belief structure is, if it differs from mine, it's not going to keep me from talking to them or cause me to make distance. It's only if they try to force me into believing what they believe. And because we shouldn't do that. We're sovereign. We're free. Free will and given the dominion and authority is something that's never been retracted. So, when we stand in it and we hold our space without doubt, that's a reset, life-changing event in itself. So, I really enjoyed sharing with you guys tonight. Like I said, I'm going to keep this one a little short. We'll do a share stream really, really soon. Like I said, I'm still going to be posting some of the talking, dancing animals here that are loaded, but then they're going to get moved over to my backup channel. I think there's like 40-some subscribers over there so far, and yeah, and then keep this one. Oh, one last thing before I let you guys go. I have done a meditation video. I haven't released it yet, and here's why. I would really like it for you to be hyper aware and watch the entire video, the meditation video, before you go straight into meditation. And also, if you decide you don't have that kind of time, because they're really not, it's not that long. I'm making them very short. And I also want to make sure that I'm not putting people too far under. So I'm being, if it sounds like I'm a little more cautious, I am, because being in Beyond Quantum Healing, I know how to put people into the hypnotic state, and I don't want to do that. Not on a meditation of this. You will go as deep as you want, as you choose. But the important information is there. And I do ask that you listen to the entire, all the way to the end if you do the meditation, because you will go to a certain degree, and at the end I pull you completely back up and out. But always, listen to the entire thing before, evaluate before you jump in. Never, don't jump in headlong. without checking me out first. Make sure that the intentions and everything, and do this with everybody, because this is, you're talking about you, your precious self, your mind, your soul, your heart. Um, you're an amazing being. And the last thing I would ever want to do is hurt a brother or sister. But I still do recommend that you listen to it first, completely awake. Try to be in the alpha state the best you can. Most of us operate in the beta state most of the day, believe it or not. We're not in the hyper awareness. Most of us drift off into daydreaming so we are actually more accustomed to the beta state. The beta state's okay. Just don't go into the theta or the delta on your first watch. Please watch it at least, don't go any further than the beta state, which, like I said, is pretty much how we operate, most of our day. When we're at work and stuff, we will be in the beta state, kind of just doing what we normally do. Kind of our mind drifts and we daydream, and we get a lot of our conscious expansions from being in that beta state most of the day, because we're allowing for that governor and that teacher or those guardian angels or higher self or angel guides to we're allowing the information to come into us from an extension of us. So anyways, that's all I wanted to share. So it's Cooking with Mack, talking dancing animals. I'm going to move the funny ones over there. You'll get occasional here, but I really want to deal with the consciousness, the self-help and expansion, and learn, glean, and grow from all of you. You guys are just amazing. I don't know what I would do without you. So, and with that, let me see where I'm at here. Thank you guys. I appreciate you more than you know.